No. Kings lose 108-102. The Blazers, they got him. They play tough. They make shots. That's a tough loss.
This Blazers team making some noise. You know, sometimes you see a bad team, all of a sudden they win like 4 or 5, and their fans go, oh, maybe they're turning it around. Then they fall right back down to earth. This Blazers team is nasty, and they made life really challenging for the Sacramento Kings, who, through 2 games in this new era, have really struggled offensively.
They have. And I think that was the number one thing that we kept talking about with the addition of Zach LaVine, was that this offense was going to be scoring 159. It was going to be really cool. Look, you're 2 games in, still a small sample size, but it's just, it's not fun going from what you saw last night against the Magic, which was ugly, to tonight, which was a much better performance. You battled all the way through. You just know if they were a good team at this point, the Kings, they would have gotten it done. And maybe a little bit more time together, we're looking at this game differently.
Yeah, I mean, these guys are still going to learn each other a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Valanciunas, LaVine, those guys are playing with guys they've never played with in their lives before. So that's part of it. But tonight, I mean, you go back to that first half, how many great threes did Portland get? How many great looks from 3? The closeouts were not good enough. And then second consecutive night where you get destroyed from 3, 16 of 40 from downtown. This Portland team, not a great three-point shooting team. Their numbers have been going up recently, but 34% on the season. They make 12 a game. Tonight, making 16 efficiently. That's how you got it done. And Anthony Simons was just nasty.
He was nasty. I mean, you said
there's threes in this game. And I think one thing we talked about after the deadline, too, was, all right, this starting lineup group, right?
Yeah.
Not going to be the best defensively.
Yeah.
And Keon Ellis plays like 2.5 minutes in that fourth quarter. And this is the challenge for Doug. I know you want to play those guys. That's the offense. You got LaVine, DeRozan, and Monk out there. But Keon, he comes in, the energy shifts, and it's not like he's a one-trick pony. Like, he could hit threes, too. Yeah. But when you need a stop to make life more challenging on someone that's heating up, I want to see that. And these are tough calls for coaches. I understand it. You're talking about all-stars that you may want to take out for a second. But when you need a stop, when maybe a guy needs a breather for a couple of minutes, maybe that's the way you got to go. It's just tough seeing someone like Simons go off, Sharp do his thing, and you look over and Keon Ellis is chilling on the bench.
I think, too, when you look at the bigger picture, it's like, okay, well, you just need more defenders in the game, late in game. Like, it's great having, like you said, all-star caliber players in there at the end to get you a bucket, but you also need to make sure that you're defending on the other side, and especially against a team. Sure, they got guys that can make the threes, and looking at the three-point shooting, but it's not always great for them all season long. But of course, against the Sacramento Kings, they light it up from deep. They were 40% and out, early on, 50% from 3, just feeling good. Deuce, a few of these, even when you see a hand in the face, there's a few too many where it's just too late, where there's a miscommunication. There's someone scrambling, and the Kings, they just don't have that three-point defense. They make life easier for all teams from beyond the arc.
Well, and then all of a sudden they're in a rhythm, and even when they're contested, I thought the Kings did a better job contesting in the second half. They're in a rhythm now, and they're knocking them in. The Kings did hold them to 108 points, right? They shot 43%, but it's that 3-point difference, right? They hit 16, you hit 10. And I'm not going to act like I'm hitting the panic button with this group. I think this group can be pretty good offensively. The reality, that's tough after you make trades like this in the NBA. Everyone thinks, you just put this piece in and let's go. I mean, in some cases it can do that, but there's also, you need a practice together. And unfortunately, LaVine comes in, it's a back-to-back. Tomorrow, they're not practicing off a back-to-back, and then they play Saturday. So there's not a lot of time for this group to get on the floor and run through things. So it's kind of like they have to figure out in-game when to get to spots. You know, last night after the game, Levine's talking about how playing with Sabonis is a little different, where he gets you the ball. So these are all things that you just have to get through, like in practice or just game action.
Yeah, and it's even going to get tougher because it's going to be all-star break ahead, and, you know, guys get that break, get some time off. Let's get to our BMW Ultimate Performer. It's going to be Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine, his second game as a Sacramento King, knocked down some threes tonight. He was 3 of 9 from beyond the arc, 22 points for him. 8 of 19 shooting, you know, had a more efficient night. I liked some of his shots, some of the selections, some not so much still.
Yeah.
But that's still getting a feel of like, hey, I'm supposed to be a guy out here being more aggressive. And I'm glad he wasn't as passive and still looking for his.
What's up with him not shooting at the end of the quarters a couple of times tonight? Get a shot up. Let's see something. No, and it was good to see him. Again, a guy who has been a really good shooter throughout his career. Yeah. I'm not really concerned about that. I think the flow of the Kings offense is just not there. And guys just miss some shots too.
Sure.
But I think the shot selection could be better. I thought in the second half they did a good job. And that's what, to me, got them that lead. When they go up 77-71, what were they doing? They were pushing the pace. The ball was moving around. We have to see more of that. And then when the shots fall, it's got good energy.
And Zach LaVine is so capable of pushing the pace, pushing that ball up the floor, and just even with the dribble, not even with the pass, just the way he can get up the floor with the dribble, because he can just turn on the jets and go, be so explosive. I think that's something you'll see more and more of as this game, they come together, they start playing together, and he feels more confident being able to do that.
Yeah. And maybe playing like the Pelicans will help, to be honest. A Pelicans team that made all these trades. No, I'm just being honest about it. The first two teams you play are pretty good defensive teams. Portland is locked in. I'm watching Tamani Kamara tonight.
Yeah.
And I look at the box score because in my head, it felt like he had 25 points.
Yeah.
His activity. He was everywhere.
And what was he?
He ends up with 4 points, 2 of 13.
Yeah.
But he had 14 rebounds, and his fingerprints were all over this game defensively.
He was one of the best players on the floor tonight.
He was outstanding.
Yes.
And their size and length and versatility, it's really, really impressive. And that Blazers team, man, all of a sudden they've won 10 of 11, number 1 in defense during that span. This is not a joke. They're playing good basketball.
It was more fun watching them take on the Pacers the other night and, you know, beating them. So, because they are a fun young team. DeMar DeRozan, we talked a little bit about him during crunch time. Tonight, 9 of 16 from the field, 1 of 4, knocked down 1 3, that 3 that we saw there at the end in crunch time, because it felt like some of those were threes. No, they were just long twos. 22 points for DeMar, 7 assists. Hey, 3 blocks. And 1 steal, though. I liked his activity defensively when he was down low trying to strip away the basketball. But when he closes out on guys, it's a tough time.
We know that. I mean, that's just the reality of his game at this point. He had 15 points in the fourth quarter. But, yeah, I mean, I think they're and with these Blazers guys he's closing out on, or he's got to decide, all right, do I play close to contest, or I got to play off just to contain the drive? He's not the best defender. He just doesn't move that well. And I think he has some moments against bigger guys, or like you said, coming down and stripping the ball, or as a help defender, but one-on-one, it's tough.
It is. It's, man, one of those frustrating.
But offensively, he got buckets. It was good. No, I'm just saying. I mean, 22 points tonight, 7 dimes.
In the moments that he did get buckets, too, I think you and I were in here kind of looking at some of his turnarounds like, no, yes. Like, he can get you something when you need it most, and in sometimes a stagnant-looking offense when other guys aren't capable of doing things, or maybe they don't feel comfortable about moving around yet because they're still filling each other out. Next level. Oh, yeah. It's our next level performance brought to you by Red Hawk Resort and Casino.
I love seeing big JV.
Yes.
This guy came in firing like right away. Missed some good looks too, a little misleading. I felt like he came in with some good energy.
Misleading. I love it.
I think he has good vibes too,
I'm with
man.
you. Dude, I love it because I thought yesterday when in Zach LaVine's debut, we were like, oh man, he's passing up some stuff. But Jonas Valanciunas came in tonight and he was like, I'm going to shoot this jumper. I'm going to shoot this hook. I'm going to do this. And, it was nice to see. And then also, you know, the Kings today acquired Jake LaRavia.
Yeah, it would be nice to have him tonight. I mean, really, he would have been really helpful against this big Blazer squad.
I agree with that. And then we see what we got, what we lost during this trade deadline in the last week. You got Zach LaVine, Jonas Valanciunas, Jake LaRavia, and then all those guys that you lost, the two you lost today, Colby Jones and Alex Len. And, you know, look, you and I were talking about in the middle with Alex Len, there were so many moments where the ball was going to Jonas Valanciunas and you just felt that confidence.
Oh, yeah. He's comfortable scoring the rock. He'll take the mid-range shot. He'll post up.
Yeah.
He's so good at boxing out.
Yep.
That's what you noticed tonight. It's like even if he's not getting a rebound, he's boxing out. His screens are awesome. He had a couple of screen assists in this game, so that was really good to see for Sacramento.
Well, Kings fall to the Blazers 108-102. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit more about